How's that again? Presents. The truth about the Pharaoh's curse. In 1922, a team led by British Egyptologist Howard Carter in the Valley of the Kings excavated Tutankhamun's tomb in an effort that was funded by British aristocrat George Herbert. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb received worldwide press coverage. With over 5,000 artifacts, it gave rise to renewed public interest in ancient Egypt, for which Tutankhamun's mask, now preserved at the Egyptian Museum, remains a popular symbol. The deaths of some individuals who were involved in the unearthing of Tutankhamun's mummy have been popularly attributed to the curse of the pharaohs, due to the similarity of their circumstances. Some of his treasure has traveled worldwide with unprecedented response. The Egyptian government allowed tours beginning in 1961. Tutankhamun has, since the discovery of his intact tomb, been referred to as King Tut in colloquial terms. The belief in the curse was brought to many people's attention due to the deaths of a few members of Howard Carter's team and other prominent visitors to the tomb shortly thereafter. Carter's team opened the tomb of Tutankhamun KV-62 in 1922, launching the modern era of Egyptology. The famous Egyptologist James Henry Breasted worked with Carter soon after the first opening of the tomb. He reported how Carter sent a messenger on an errand to his house. On approaching his home, the messenger thought he heard a faint, almost human cry. Upon reaching the entrance, he saw a birdcage occupied by a cobra, the symbol of the Egyptian monarchy. Carter's canary had died in its mouth, and this fueled local rumors of the curse. Arthur Weigel, a previous Inspector General of Antiquities to the Egyptian government, reported that this was interpreted as Carter's house being broken into by the royal cobra, the same as that worn on the king's head to strike enemies. Urias, on the very day the king's tomb was being broken into, an account of the incident was reported by the New York Times on 22 December 1922. The first of the deaths was that of Lord Carnarvon, who financed the excavation. He had been bitten by a mosquito, and later slashed the bite accidentally while shaving. It became infected, and that resulted in blood poisoning. 2 weeks before Carnarvon died, Marie Corelli wrote an imaginative letter that was published in the New York World magazine, in which she quoted an obscure book that confidently asserted that dire punishment would follow any intrusion into a sealed tomb. A media frenzy followed, with reports that a curse had been found in the king's tomb. Though this was untrue, the superstitious Benito Mussolini, who had once accepted an Egyptian mummy as a gift, ordered its immediate removal from the Palazzo Chigi. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of Sherlock Holmes and spiritualist, suggested that Lord Carnarvon's death had been caused by elementals, created by Tutankhamun's priests to guard the royal tomb, and this further fueled the media interest. Arthur Weigel reported that 6 weeks before Carnarvon's death, he had watched the Earl laughing and joking as he entered the king's tomb, and said to a nearby reporter, H.V. Morton, I gave him 6 weeks to live. The first autopsy carried out on the body of Tutankhamun by Dr. Derry found a healed lesion on the left cheek, but as Carnarvon had been buried 6 months previously, it was not possible to determine if the location of the wound on the king corresponded with the fatal mosquito bite on Carnarvon. A study of documents and scholarly sources led the Lancet to conclude it unlikely that Carnarvon's death had anything to do with Tutankhamun's tomb, refuting another theory that exposure to toxic fungi, mycotoxins, had contributed to his demise. The report points out that the Earl was only one of many to enter the tomb on several occasions, and that none of the others were affected. The cause of Carnarvon's death was reported as pneumonia supervening on facial erysipelas, a streptococcal infection of the skin and underlying soft tissue. Pneumonia was thought to be only one of various complications arising from the progressively invasive infection that eventually resulted in multi-organ failure. The Earl had been prone to frequent and severe lung infections, according to the Lancet, and there had been a general belief that one acute attack of bronchitis could have killed him. In such a debilitated state, the Earl's immune system was easily overwhelmed by erysipelas. In 1925, the anthropologist Henry Field, accompanied by Breasted, visited the tomb and recalled the kindness and friendliness of Carter. He also reported how a paperweight given to Carter's friend Sir Bruce Ingram was composed of a mummified hand with its wrist adorned with a scarab bracelet marked with, "Cursed be he who moves my body. To him shall come fire, water, and pestilence." Soon after receiving the gift, Ingram's house burned down, followed by a flood when it was rebuilt. Howard Carter was entirely skeptical of such curses, dismissing them as tommy rot and commenting that the sentiment of the Egyptologist is not one of fear, but of respect and awe, entirely opposed to foolish superstitions. In May 1926 he reported in his diary a sighting of a jackal of the same type as Anubis, the guardian of the dead, for the first time in over 35 years of working in the desert, although he did not attribute this to supernatural causes. Skeptics have pointed out that many others who visited the tomb or helped to discover it lived long and healthy lives. A study showed that of the 58 people who were present when the tomb and sarcophagus were opened, only 8 died within a dozen years. All the others were still alive, including Howard Carter, who died of lymphoma in 1939 at the age of 64. The last survivors included Lady Evelyn Herbert, Lord Carnarvon's daughter, who was among the first people to enter the tomb after its discovery in November 1922. He lived for a further 57 years and died in 1980, and American archaeologist J.O. Kinnaman, who died in 1961, 39 years after the event.